I'm a very privileged gay man. Why am I not allowed to marry someone else? Because I don't want to marry a woman.
Most of the time, marriage means like people related with sex. That's why the first thing they want to have is swagat.
I was brainwashed to be straight. I was the first one in my school to have a girlfriend in class 5 or 6.
Each time, I want to make the rest of the world like me, and the problem is that.
If I was taught, if I knew, I would have grown up with way lesser trauma. I would have grown up with more acceptance, more love, and all the things that I'm dealing with, my childhood traumas, wouldn't have happened, a lot of it. If I would have known that, okay, it's okay to be gay, you have no control over it, this is who you are.
When you talk about it, people may think that you're advertising, or you're trying to bring it up. But whereas I think from my perspective, whenever you speak it, I think you're asking for your right.
The future is giving everyone equal rights. Let them live. Stop this resistance between each other so that we can all thrive in our best way possible.
That's the last sloka from chapter 9. He's saying, he doesn't care about like how our body are and what kind of body concept we have. He doesn't care. He says, give me your money.
Recently in Indonesia, 2 guys were caught together and they got whipped like badly publicly. This was yesterday. It's just attraction or just feelings, Before puberty, only you have crushes on the opposite gender or the same gender, whoever you're into. It's not only when puberty hits is when you are attracted to someone else.
So if you see from all these kind of things, what do you think like this? What should we talk about?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, any question, anything?
I have so many questions with it. So many questions. I feel like, it's interesting. How do I address you first?
We generally call male Prabhu.
Okay, girl. So yeah, I've seen a lot of you on this. It's interesting to hear from your perspective also. First things first, I come from the LGBTQIA plus community. What is your take on the community and this?
Straight up.
So yeah.
Okay. Being born in a Nepali community. Almost like 51 now.
Okay.
That time it was like kind of quite conservative society there. So we only had 2 genders, man and woman. Right? And if anybody had different idea, you'll be forced to one of them. Right? Because later on, I was like experiencing lots of situation. I stayed almost 10 years in Thailand. So Thailand is an open country, where we see all these practices are going on. त्यस्तो थियो पछि चाहिँ मेरो पर्सपेक्टिभ चेन्ज भयो तर पहिलाको हिसाबले हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ maybe I got it from my culture that kind of little restricted. And यो हुँदैन then not possible and त्यस्तो त्यो feelings चाहिँ छ अरू feelings चाहिँ so it's natural. So being educated is now boys school. So that flavor is also there. That being more close to man. We feel like more comfortable with man than a woman. We had that thing. But still, culture ko concept le still 100% acceptance. That's why in my case, in my personal feelings, when I became spiritual and then came to know about every individual is unique. And so if I have not returned someone basically then I was more open to open. And Thailand
Thailand is a good place to learn a lot. I think it's important to unlearn a lot of things that we all have been grown up with, because even we have a generation gap, but even growing up in boarding school, I still grew up at a time when the digital world wasn't that prevalent. Computers were there, internet was there to still dial up.
Frame and all this.
So I also grew up in that same boys' school era where you would be shamed, we'd be called gay as an insult. And plus on top of that, there's no education telling you there are people with a different orientation. If a man likes another man, then you are gay. If a man likes a woman, then you are straight. A man can feel like a woman and he's a woman from inside. And that's transgender.
That's okay.
Yeah, and that's okay. And it's, I feel like pure education now bhaira, and the first introduction of the term gay, which who I am now proudly, but back then it was like, gay, tu gay hai, tu gay hai. And people, children are smart. They saw that I was already different. Alikati mero feminine qualities too. And also being Nepali, I was like, my facial health came very late. Boys already had a beard in class 6 and 7. They were already growing up and my puberty hit later. All of that made that attack come to me. And while I was experimenting secretly with boys, but I could never accept it. It was something very hush-hush. As much as I was enjoying just being in companionship, having a crush on another boy, it was not something I could ever tell anyone or even think to myself.
It was very natural, right?
Yeah, it was very naturally, it came to me. What we were told is, boy has to like a girl. And that was brainwashed into me. And because of that,
you would feel like that.
yeah. And it's like, okay, boy has to like a girl. That's how it is. There's no other way. To tithe hai na ki boy can also like another boy. So I would always, that would make me feel very lonely in many ways, because that whole thing of boy has to like a girl le garda. People think, if you educate people about LGBTQI plus awareness, that's brainwashing. But I was brainwashed to be straight. I was the first one in my school to have a girlfriend in class 5 or 6. So, at that time it was like, we have to have a girlfriend. So, and I was in awe of her, like how I would still be in awe of beautiful women, but it is very platonic. But at that time, the whole attention that I got because I had a girlfriend, all of that was very like, wow, I'm popular because I have a girlfriend. Now they can't call me gay, and I'm not gay. But at the same time, I was also in love with 1-2 boys in my school. So it was so confusing.
It was not like matching or didn't make sense. Means like liking a man.
With the boy, we would kiss, but and it was real. And my love, I would dream about him, but I would also be like, I have a girlfriend also. That's so cool. I had no clue what was going on. I was just going with the flow, and these terms were being thrown at me like gay, other words that I don't want to say, and that would be like, no, I'm not this, but this is what I feel. So the loneliness, and I feel like we aren't taught at a young age. That doesn't change you into anyone. People nowadays think, don't teach kids. They sexualize it. It's not sexual at all. It's just attraction or just feelings. Before puberty, only you have crushes on the opposite gender or the same gender, whoever you're into. It's not only when puberty hits is when you are attracted to someone else. So I think there's so much conversation going on about this, and it's really traumatic.
There are still I think our society like still it'll take some time to dilute.
It will.
But then if we see the Western world or many places like Thailand, it has gone too far just on that. You know why? Because if it is natural, then it's such a wonderful thing. But I've also found many people trying to do it artificially. I don't know, maybe it's because of frustration or some kind of hatred or something. When it comes from that part, that it's so ugly.
I feel like it would be aggressive more than artificial, because why would I want to be transgender when I'm going to be seen as the least privileged? People don't accept you. Even in Thailand, trans people have better rights, but it's still, there will be, cisgender people, yes. So why would anyone want to do it artificially? It's the resistance that we have from the world. If it's an equitable world where everyone is equal, no one's going to be aggressive. But marginalized people will always be more upset, more angry, more aggressive, because they're still fighting for equality. So we can't expect peace, and we can't expect them to be, calm and composed at all times when there's so much injustices and hate. 2 days ago, a trans woman was murdered by 2 men here, the Shivratri, and Pashupatinath ko tira. And the violence against transgender people, LGBTQ+ people is very prevalent, and there's a reason for it is because we're discriminated in many ways. I'm a very privileged gay man. First of all, I'm a man. That itself is a privilege.
It's supported by the family.
Got supported by the family, come from a privileged family. Plus, I'm a man. It's easier for a man to get away than a lesbian woman. And for then trans people. And so I see that privilege, but at the same time, I've dealt with things myself, and I understand where people come from, and it's a lot. And I feel like in today's time, the world is with the US and the new prime president, it's more hatred towards people from our community. That's right. And the wave is pretty scary.
He said that he's going to end it in
Yeah.
man and woman.
Yeah.
Well, that's something like, I mean, as far as I know, I mean, about the rights, every individual has a right for everything that is like, according to the law and everything, right? But then at the same time, we have to also like understand in a social way, right? What is the limit? What are the things we can do and what we can't? Even if I declare myself as a man, I mean, if I understand as a man, I have put limitations. It's not just like because if I'm a man and if I say I'm a gay, then I have put limitations.
Yeah.
So it's even being like proper gender, I could say that.
Yeah.
Proper gender, that I have that limitations. Like for example, I mean, all the money I can utilize is the money I have in my bank account.
Yeah.
I can say why my bank account is so small, or like I'm having less money, So in that sense, right? And then people have we're talking about the rights, but then when we come to the mental law, when we talk about feelings, then that's something it's very difficult for others to understand.
Yeah.
Right? And then all we have is like words, few words. And to bole rande to Peter feel possibly express here. Right?
Yeah.
So even if I say I'm a gay, and then how many percent gay? Because I had friends back in Highland, what they go bisexuals. He would like both, man and woman, and he's so proud of it.
Yeah.
Right. And then I used to ask him, I mean, how many men and how many women, at a time? And I was asking percentage. He said 50-50. 50-50.
Yeah.
And I used to feel odd when he says, "Oh, Rupesh, I love you." He used to say that as well. No, because like again, I told you in the beginning, it was like my culture will not allow me to do that. But then later on, when I became like close with them, I mean, I felt if we removed that actual sex part, right, the physical part, it's a brotherhood, man to man brotherhood.
Yeah, it's human to human connection in general. I feel like the humans are so broad. I mean, there's such a big spectrum to what you like. Even if you are straight and there's another man who's straight, you both won't have the same choice, right? You can't expect just because you are straight, everyone will like the same woman. Who you like, others won't like. Same thing goes with even like people who are gay. Like you said, if you're gay, then you're gay. If you're bisexual also, very rarely it's 50-50. It's a spectrum from 0 to 100. And you can't expect bisexual people also to be 50-50. There's such a spectrum. I've seen so many people and the interests, even straight people, like, this is my type of women. This is my type I like, when I'm sexually, like, I'm having intercourse, this is what and everyone is different, like you said, unique. The same goes even with the LGBTQIA plus community. There's such a huge spectrum.
Variety.
Yeah. For me, it's black and white. I'm 100% gay up and now. And you are 100% straight, for example. For us, it's more black and white, but there's such a spectrum in between. Meeting so many people from the community. I realized this world is so nice and complex and beautiful, and it's like, you can't have rules of like this or that. There's so much in between. And
it can also change over time.
It can also change. The people also discovering themselves. There's so many people who don't know what to box them into. Like, oh, I also feel this, also feel that. There's no term for it. And that's why I feel more terms are coming up so that people feel more that, they feel like they all understood.
My one question is, do we have to really term that?
I feel like in a world where everything is termed, and if we aren't termed, then we are left out. So either don't term anyone, gender is a whole concept in it. It's brought by you.
Let's not talk about gender at all.
Yeah. Either not and not give any terms. Or if you're giving terms, then I think everyone has the right to feel at home, at place in some ways and have, it's like if the people will be like, why even put gay? It's okay. Live your life. Don't have to speak about it. But the fact that growing up, I didn't know about it. If I was taught, if I knew, I would have grown up with way lesser trauma. I would have grown up with more acceptance, more love, and all the things that I'm dealing with, my childhood traumas, wouldn't have happened, a lot of it. If I would have known that, okay, it's okay to be gay. You have no control over it. This is who you are. And you are loved, and there's a community of people who are there, and there's support groups. If I knew that, I wouldn't have been lonely and alone as a child, all by myself, thinking that I'm going to be hated for who I am. And that has messed me up in many ways, and I'm working on fixing it. But no child deserves that. No human deserves that. You need to be able to feel a place wherever you belong.
I'm getting to understand.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, each time when I hear like, this kind of story, because like coming back to scriptures and Vedic system, right? We talk about karma, right? So karma doesn't only like comes in this life, but it also like comes from past lives. So there are so many lives we are like doing things, and then but there's no consequences. We are getting into like many lifetime, and this like that.
Yeah.
It's coming from back, and I'm trying to relate, whatever you are saying.
Yeah.
All right. So in Mahabharata, there's this personality you know, Sikandi.
I'm not too aware about it.
Yeah, Sikandi is like a male, but in a female mentality.
Okay.
By Sikandi and the ISKCON, the organization I'm into, they also try to have the, I would say, department or something like that for LG. They call it a Galva.
Okay.
Vaishnav Association of Gays and Lesbians. Okay. So that, but then of course it didn't get approved, right? But then there are people who are of like this kind of mentality into religious acts also. They have full rights to do it. That's right. But then again, at the same time, the scriptures talk, Vedic scriptures. It's like so vast, and then they talk from bodily level up to the soul level. So when we go up to the level of the soul, we don't have this kind of discrimination. It's more easy.
Yeah.
Because it's everything is uniform, and there's no gender.
Yeah.
It's all. It's so fantastic,
Yeah.
like you said.
Yeah. That's not no gender. It's such a concept.
Yeah. So it's such a wonderful thing. That's also that's one thing I wanted to talk about today. So if we can raise our consciousness, because see, if even come to the level of mind, we don't have gender. Yeah. What to talk is, right? The gender is made bodily based. All right, just because like I have to like certain things in my body and certain things are absent, I'm termed as a man. All right. So first time I went to Australia, we went for swimming, and we went to change our swimming costume. Everyone was walking around naked, men.
Yeah.
Men. I was like,
Yes, of course.
I was like, oh, what is this? What's going on? I was with the towel, wrapped. I was the odd one out.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone was like, and then I told Mama curious to kids and says, "Kina lajkan."
Yeah.
And I sabi sanga bhako chiz ekarka sanga ke garle lazma. Then abavo chiz bhako lazma jo then. Oh, this is how we feel ourselves similar based on this. And then there's another kind woman who have slightly different types of body. That's why they needed another toilet, another bathroom, another changing room, right? So to hisab let's say body ko point of view about it, then we are like disunited, you see. Yeah. So when we raise our consciousness to even at least to the mental level, we are already
100% agreed. I think we're too focused on the physical body. Even like gender is such a social construct that I feel we people have only brought into it. We're giving each other gender roles. At the end of it, we're human. It's about how consciousness is, who we are, how we are to each other.
Consciousness, when we talk about consciousness. So it's when we talk about consciousness, both man, woman, or anybody, like have anything to do, anything possible to do, anything. When we go down to the body, then there's so much of in the Nepali Indian. Gays, lesbians, and man and woman, chutins are black and white, and a caste, color, creed. So all this kind of thing is based on the body. Yeah. So as soon as we read Bhagavad Gita, it's so beautiful. There Krishna, is telling Arjun, he says like, oh, mero grandfather like osere man means Bhishma Pitama is the grandfather, right? So and somehow he has been the enemy. I mean, he's coming from the opponent part. And he's asking, and how is it possible that I can kill my grandfather? So then Krishna says, you're stupid. You're stupid. I mean, I thought you're a wise man. I thought you're a wise man, but you're stupid. You're talking about like this body. No, grandfather, you're related with the body. We are not this body. We are Atma. So we are Atma. There's you cannot kill him. You cannot he's not born. He's not he doesn't die. It's like different level of consciousness. There's such a beautiful, So I was thinking, if we can introduce this spiritual consciousness, I think that will help the world
for sure.
And this
hatred, division and all that. Yeah, for sure. It's so important. I think we are desperate need of more spirituality, more consciousness. This world is being taken over by capitalism. We can't get away from it. So we need to find a way to be more at peace, and this, even if for yourself also is so important.
And there's another point, like where Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, but he says man manava matak madhyazimam nastu. That's the last sloka from chapter 9. He's saying, he doesn't care about like how our body are and what kind of body concept we have, and he doesn't care. He says, give me your money.
Yeah.
He's asking for the mind. Focus on being. Your body, you do whatever you.
Yeah.
Right. So body is not so important, which we are, I think, trying to prove ourselves based on the body. And Krishna says it's not so important. So when I became spiritual, when I started practicing spiritual, I became more compromising, more accepted. Acceptance level made ekdam high. So I was like thinking the world really is the spiritual concept.
For sure.
Where we unify.
For sure. And also with like Hinduism, I think it's always been such a fluid, open way of life. That's true. Back in our scriptures, gods had gender, like you said, Ardhana, Nareshwar. I'm not too good with with Hinduism. I really right to you, but we've always been so accepting and open and fluid to the gender norms. It was more about spirituality, more about how you think, who you are as a person, and less about the gender. I mean, you see all these scriptures, there's a man to man, women. They're even with animals. I mean, I've seen it all around. And I feel like when people attack us, the queer community, they use that, you all are Western influenced. But what I feel is that the real Western influence is homophobia or transphobia, because it's the colonial people who came and brought those laws and said that was wrong and persecuted us for being who we are. Hinduism never had any of that. They were accepting. And it's so sad that now that concept for so many people has changed, because so many 100 years with the colonialism, that mindset has completely changed. Yeah. Now we see it as we see just the LGBTQI plus community as a Western concept because of that. But I truly feel that in our way of life, I mean, even our ancestors back in the days, they were more free, open to do what they want. That's true.
That's true. Even if we see the Bhagwan ko avatar, that's when there are so many mixtures. Yeah. Like Nursing Avatar. He's a mixture of man and a lion. See, animal and human. Yeah. It's a mixture. How would you call him? Yeah. Right. That's true. I mean, there's room for. I mean, this is nature. Nature can go to any limit. That's a given. And I think it's a human concept to restrict into two genders or something like that. Yeah. Somehow we came up with this concept, and you're right. In the scripture, I mean, there are so many varieties, and every varieties they are like given proper places, and respect is there. Yeah, right? And then raising ourselves into spiritual platform. I think it's a big solution. Yeah, you're right. Hinduism is like more open.
Yeah, we've always accepted third gender plus for the longest time. They've had a role in society for hundreds of years in record. And
this is interesting.
But it's something now that because the Western people are trying to attack, is where we are. But if you notice, Nepal, India, Pakistan, I'm not sure about Bangladesh, but India, always had space for third gender community and given respect. There is a role they have. We have things of like how they have, powers. We've always accepted them. But in the last 100, 200 years, even though they've existed, there's been more stigma towards them, which we didn't.
That we can say that we got westernized.
Exactly. But we've always had a space, and what the Western people have done better than us in this part of the world now is that they have brought up this hate, but they've also realized that this is not good and everyone deserves equality, and they have grown and moved ahead so that everyone is equal. So they are the ones who started. Like how they started capitalism, they started the Industrial Revolution. It's made everyone comfortable in many ways, but they've also started making LGBTQI plus people more comfortable and give them more rights. So that's why we're seeing it as a Western concept, but I think there's a lot we can learn from the Western concept also. They're forward in us. And
recently, no Western concept, open.
It's moving on. I think equal, like how women's rights. Now it's queer rights. I think the future is giving everyone equal rights. Let them live. Stop this resistance between each other so that we can all thrive in the best way possible.
And also another thing is like when we talk about this, like, and when you talk about it, people may think that you're advertising or you're trying to bring it up. But whereas I think from my perspective, whenever you speak it, I think you're asking for your right. And you're asking to become a normal.
Yeah. To be treated as
a normal.
It's
very interesting.
People always like to bring advertise. I think the whole world is talking, we are influencing each other about something or the other. People working in their jobs are advertising, influencing their company, their brand. It's, we're just trying to talk and garner knowledge and teach knowledge to people in their own way.
Even in spirituality and religion, we have a preaching thing. Preaching doesn't mean like converting necessarily. Preaching is like when you find something like wonderful, something nice, now you want to share it. Basically, that's preaching actually. That is. So I think whenever you also like want to speak about all these kind of things, and you have found like, I mean, there are people with this kind of mentality, this kind of like, situation also like, that's interesting.
No, it's when you meet more people is when you realize, from my community right now, there was this conference, ILGA conference. It's one of the biggest LGBTQI plus conferences, and Kathmandu was a host for the ILGA Asia, which is a big thing. So we got 600 participants from all over Asia, from the queer community. And this 1 week of meeting so many people from different countries, cultures, who they are, what they identify as, how they are as a person, what they've done for the society, for the community in their countries. In countries like Malaysia, in countries like Pakistan, where you could be, you could death penalty, it's for being who you are.
Really?
Yeah, and they're by the way of which country? Malaysia, death penalty, very strict penalty. Under the Sharia law, you can get into a lot of trouble. You can't openly be from the LGBTQI community. But what I see there,
you mean this Muslim background?
Muslim background. Some countries have to a little bit stricter. And what I found in Indonesia, so those countries where it was more strict, because of the resistance, because now you have to fight for rights or you could die. You see them work so much more, and the work that they have put up is so much more phenomenal. I mean, Nepali Mansu, for our community, the laws have always been towards the more relaxed side. I can hold hands and walk on the streets with a guy.
They might backbite, but
they might think we're best friends because that's what people do. But even if I give a kiss or something, I won't have fear of being attacked. I could be catcalled.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's safer. So,
but there are places where you get penalized.
Yeah, penalized. Recently in Indonesia, 2 guys were caught together and they got whipped like badly publicly. This was yesterday. So it's strict, and I feel, and that brings to Nepali people, a community, I think the LGBTQI plus community is very small here, even though the laws are very progressive as compared to other nations. But when I see communities in Indonesia, Pakistan, their communities thriving in the underground scene because they are not allowed to be out. It's a resistance. And I feel like it was just so beautiful to see that people will exist no matter. Queer people will always exist no matter what the situation is. America, it's coming that 1 in 10 people identify as from the LGBTQF community. And people are just saying, yeah. So they're like, this is a new trend, blah, blah, blah. What is it? Yeah. But the thing is, now when the society is not sexually regressive and you're being open and accepting, people are being able to be themselves.
Okay.
That number never changes. It's 1 in 10 people always existed. When I hear stories about Mero ancestors, there's so many people so many of the great-great-grandfathers who like guys, great-great-grandmothers who like women. But that time, you couldn't be like, I'm gay, I'm lesbian. It's like, you have to get married, but in the side, you go and enjoy, That term has come today. Now we are recognized. It's open. We have a community, more acceptance, equality. And that is necessary. People see it as a Western propaganda. Why is this happening? Why can't it be the same way it was? No. Why should it be the same way? We also should be recognized and be understood. And there should be resources about us.
Yeah. This is what I've always felt, that each time I want to make the rest of the world like me, and the problem is that.
That's true.
Yeah. Rather than trying to understand you as you are and then respect. Fully respect it. Yeah, that's the best thing. True. But then the world doesn't know how to do it. And even in the level of country or like sports or कुनै पनि sector man, you can feel.
Yep.
Whatever I believe, I want to impose on others. That's creating power, right? But then I was like thinking, I mean, how would it be to be in sit and talk with you? I feel comfortable.
I feel comfortable to that. So I think I'm like very comfortably speaking my heart out without.
Yeah. But then, like I said, I mean, I've got a bad experience with those like who are artificially doing it. It's not natural.
I feel this natural concept is also so unnatural. Why do we have natural, unnatural? You all are different. There will be people who look at me as unnatural. There'll be people who look at you as unnatural.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got cult many times, but it's not, I mean, it's their perspective. And that could, like for me, who's not very, I've grown up for our religion. I see this and I'm like, that's amazing. We have different people, different communities, different gods. And it's great that people are happy there. If they have seen changes and they believe in a guru, who are we to say that this is a cult?
Yeah.
Who are we to say that this is untrue? Okay, they don't have supervision.
It works for him.
It works for him. That's great. They've done something good. Until that guru is not doing something immoral, like, where we've had some gurus do immoral things. But just because those gurus do immoral things doesn't mean you also immoral. No. So we can't say gurus in general suck because they have been unnatural, artificial things. There's so many artificial gurus, but we can't call all the gurus artificial, right? You have to see which is good, which is not. So there will always be good and bad in everything. There's, just because straight men rape women, which is mostly the case, it doesn't mean all men rape women, right? So
that's true.
We can't say, oh, but why are you straight? Men are raping women. Are you also raping? So we can't generalize. There's so many, like I said, spectrum. People different. Everyone's unique. There will be artificial in every field. We can't expect the LGBTQI plus community to be 100% right. We have fights within ourselves in our community. So
yeah, I was talking about those people like who think that this is a trend. Who think that's where things get messed up.
Yeah. People think it's a trend because now the thing is that there's just more acceptance and people are being able to express themselves. So this trend thing, and then people are also so clueless because it's new and they don't want to learn. And I don't expect them also to learn. There's so many things where I would not want to read up about because it's not my problem. So I understand where they come from, and that's where, like, it's our roles to make people aware about you, like you do about spirituality. You're doing your role, and I do my role about the queer community. Let's bring awareness, use our platform to bring any kind of awareness, even if 10 people listen or 2 people listen. It's 2 lives.
Oh, heard it. Right. This is interesting. This is very interesting. Again, I mean, it's too complicated.
Life is too complicated. This world is too complicated.
I'm even thinking about, like, I mean, going down to the animals and insects. Like section magare and kati complications are. And it's based on the body and differences, and one species eating another species, all these kind of things. And then I've also like noticed and found and read about, like, even this LGBT is, like, I mean, present in animals.
Yeah.
This and you'll be surprised, I mean, if I tell, I mean, that the gay concept was I was like surprised to read in Srimad Bhagavatam. When like some of the descendants of Lord Shiva, they would go to Brahma and then ask for homosex. Like, well, I said, "Whoa, far out, man! I mean, this concept is not a new concept. It's not from the West. Like,
it's come. West will let us silence those things and quiet it. But we are the land of Kama Sutra. What are we talking about? And we are the most sexually repressed society now. Hinduism is the most sexually repressed society, but we got
even our temples like advertising.
Yeah. And why are we not accepting it? I think we in our families, we all are so sexually repressed. It's not openly, and that's something the Western people.
Are you saying that we are such an open society before?
Yeah,
being a Vedic society, and then somehow the Western influence made us conservative?
100%. So, and now the Western people are being open, and they're also resisting themselves, and we are being. Bhedas are being like, yeah, we need to be more what we were taught. Because we, as like in our subcontinent, colonial people have really ruined our minds for hundreds of years. They have enforced things into our
Islam, and then
British, Islam. I'm not sure what Islam, but the British definitely completely enforced such negative things on us and made us feel like we are so bad. They were always jealous of how progressive we are. They called us people from like a backward people. I forget the other word, but we were actually very ahead of time.
Dehatis?
Dehatis is there's an English word they used to use, but like just people who are like animals, savages. Like you all are not, and they had industrial revolution which benefited them to, say those things. But the British lived in a cold, deserted, windy island, didn't have anything. They saw India, land rich in culture, we can live in. But they made everything. Yeah, the British made everything with Indian money, and
that's true.
But they made us feel like we are nothing, and
that's the only way they got conquered, or else like they wouldn't.
That's the biggest, I think, loss to even like Hinduism is how much they enforced their opinions. The laws are still, Indian laws are still governed a lot with the British laws, very millipercent. And a lot that could be changed, influenced by that. So we're fighting for LGBT rights in India because of those British laws. And Nepal also had similar structure. Why like this okay thing?
I think that Rana over time, British thing, lots of influence were there.
Lots of influence, for sure.
We get to hear and read it in the history.
Yeah, like the Ranas in Nepal and the British there. It's just so much has changed how we see Hinduism. Hinduism are just laws and just...
I've like read Bible, Quran, and Tripitaka and so many other religion books. And I found like our Hindu culture is like such an open culture, like you said. Can you imagine a religious book talking about how to be irreligious? Not irreligious now, atheist. I mean, the book which tells us how to find God is also talking about how not to believe in, and you're accepted.
Yeah.
So for example, Lord Buddha is incarnation of Vishnu, who is saying no God. Means like, I mean, it's my own rights, or it's my own choice whether I should accept or not. It's such a wonderful freedom given to us.
Yeah.
And here we are trying to shape everything.
Politicize it, using religion for politics. Like in India right now, I've always been so proud of Hinduism, where like it's so open, free, you can worship any god, and every god has a different meaning. It's just beautiful. It's a way of life. Today's capital world, it has to be a religion, but I see it as a way of living. But now that I see in India, it's scary because it's so Hindu. You have to be this, you have to be that, you have to worship God. This community, get out, only Hindu. And we are never that way. And
the Hindus are not like that.
Yeah, the core is not that. And it's because of politics. People are being brainwashed now and being so Hindutva. And that is like, it's scary. And it's such a bad rep. It's like very extreme. Never extreme.
I've also heard like people saying Jai Sri Ram has been used in a political way, right?
Yeah.
So many of those like were religious, they're coming Jai Siada.
Yeah.
So
yeah, what is the difference? Did you hear them both?
Yeah, but I mean, there's no difference.
Yeah.
But then because the Jai Sri Ram is used for like
political
side, I mean, we are Hindus and then we hate others, like it's been used for that, right? So many of them prefer not to say that. Rather say like Jai Sri Ram, which is like, I mean, the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's pretty scary, like how Hinduism is going in India in like the extreme way.
To what limit you're going to fight for what, right, and all. I mean, all this.
The thing is, there's so many people from my community who are fighting, who are so smart, who are, if my smartness is here, they're like up in the sky, and they're fighting for it.
Why they have to fight? I mean, why don't they just...
They have no rights. I mean, this capital word, if you are not allowed to, why am I not allowed to marry someone else? Because I don't want to marry a woman. I don't understand what is, like, how, for you all don't understand, like, how can we like each other? Even I don't understand what men see in women to be sexually attracted to. But that doesn't mean I'm against them. That means, okay, that is your choice. This is my choice. So why is my choice not legally accepted?
Means you have allowed them to choose their...
Yeah, to choose their lover and have a marriage and be backed by rights and laws.
Well, that was your question, which is based on and to the JP only.
Yeah. What I told him was that the Supreme Court has passed an interim order, which is amazing. This is so good. The whole world is applauding Nepal. In the economy, you'll be surprised how many queer people are thriving in this world. And if you have queer tourism come to Nepal, a lot of money is going to come. So think because the Prime Minister said, I do not understand it. But then think in a business way, think in another way and be like, this would help boost our country then. Whatever way it is, find a way to come and now legislated. Thailand did the same thing a few months ago after Nepal. And that's how forward a Nepal Supreme Court is. So Thailand did it
did it now.
after Nepal, the Supreme Court passed interim order, but the government quickly legislated it. Now it's in law. You can marry as proper laws for same-sex marriage. People are like, oh, they'll misuse it.
How do you define marriage?
I think marriage is a union between two souls who are in love and want to spend time. That's it. Yeah. And in this capital world, we need laws, we need rights to survive and sustain.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, it's just like marriage is, misunderstood. Yeah. In many ways, like most of the time, marriage means like people relate it with sex. That's why the first thing they want to have is swabirat.
Yeah.
Yeah. As if
we're actually repressed that we need to have pay.
And there are so many other things.
Yeah, for sure.
Marriage means like you're committing to each other for the rest of their life. And that's the thing. And I think if we see from that perspective, I think gender doesn't come.
Gender doesn't come. Yeah. Marriage in general in today's time has become warped. It's become a scam. It's become a business between two families.
Yeah.
Yeah. Families you're marrying because this one's rich as us, or your family but Rupeshwor US it's not about that.
US city.
Yeah. Marriage should be marriage needs to be it should come with it. No one else should be able to dictate who you want to marry. And it's a big dictation here.
Marriage means to take a vow to be with that person for the rest of your life.
Yeah. To be each other's best friends. Soulmates.
Yeah, if you take marriage in that sense, then yes, I think getting married in the same gender shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah,
but if it is taken as like what the rest of the world is taking, then I think there's
and there's marriage in general it's a little messed up. It needs to be completely docked to people. I think with consciousness it will get better. But till then,
there's a story in Srimad Bhagavatam. I think it's canto 8 or 9. The king wants to have a son, right? So he didn't have a son. He had many wives, and then so at the end there was no choice other than doing yagya. Putra ko lagi yagya. So he does that yagya, and then but he was so addicted to hunting, so he couldn't register. So he said, like, you guys go on with the yagya. I'll go to hunting and come back, and then continue, be part of the ceremony. So he goes, and then the yagya finishes before he comes back, and then the prasad. And the yagya ko prasad चाहिँ जुन रानीले खान्छ उसको ऊ चाहिँ pregnant हुन्छ. So that was the thing. So they thought like, okay, the husband is out, and let us ask him which queen he wants. Who he wants to eat. He wants us to eat. But त्यो सबै कुरा गरेर आएको बेलामा they just go away, and then this king happens to be there and very tired, hungry, and he looks at, oh, nice present. Come, खाइदिनु. And then the king becomes pregnant.
Yeah.
Right? King becomes pregnant. I'm telling you, and it's very lovely. And then, and then the king becomes pregnant. After 9 months, he gives birth. A cesarean, of course. Right side bird. Right side bird. Okay, that's the story. When even the male can give birth to a child. Yeah, that's the story. And we have one doctor, devotee, recently. So he read this story and he was like shocked. How can male give birth to a child? And he filed this research in one of the university, and he started like finding out which part of the body, in the man's body, the child was growing. We need a womb. When they say womb, just the actual name or organ, research he found appendix. And he found appendix, and that to cartel nikaleko right side birth center. When you say right side appendix, also like it's like more towards the right side. And then he is like he found out so many qualities matching between these two organs, womb and appendix. And then of course like it's still research. And then my like you and then oh my God, if you become successful, if you don't make like man become pregnant, then you're like hero for the gays. Right, so.
No heroes for the straights also. The women are going to be like, you have a child, why should I bear the child for 9 months? Like, and change my whole body.
I don't think men will.
Men don't be happy, but
men will be happy.
I mean, I don't think you'd be happy, Pierre. I mean, you're not happy. You still use that woman.
They have got this thing, like, Amale bhन्छ नि, मैले तिमीलाई 9 महिना गरेरमा राखेको. So to feel, for man is a seed giving farm.
Yeah. Very convenient.
Yeah.
Give as
So the attachment the mother ko jo feeling is child prati.
yeah.
So it's like so
Yeah.
I mean what talking.
They won't be happy in the beginning, but after that feminine
Yeah.
touch. I mean, I think every man needs a lot of feminine qualities in them in terms of they have to accept their femininity. It's so masculine, hyper masculine. It's not. So there needs to be a balance.
Right. But it's not only about physics, but in the whole mindset.
Yeah, mindset. We've been structured in such a hyper masculine, and that's why we men are suffering because we have a role to play. We can't cry. We need to be strong, and this comes to me still, right? So and there's so many mental health problems, and we men are also facing. And I mean, me being gay doesn't make me not a man. That's just my sexual orientation. That's not my gender identity. That's why I'm gay, man, gay. So we men suffer in that way. There's more pressures. Definitely, as a whole, we benefit way more from the patriarchy, but there are things we can't deny that we have pressure, we have things. So
there's one thing is there is a system, and then there is reality.
Yeah.
And यदि हामीले यो system र reality लाई match गरेर त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ निस्किन सक्छ निकाल्न सक्यो भने then there's no problem. But then if we are like so fanatic, system, or like only family, this is too emotional side, but this is too mechanical.
Yeah.
Right? So you do have a combination, I think that's a good family or good community or
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, when you speak about Hinduism and talking about more than the gender, it's just the masculinity and femininity balance that Hinduism has a lot of. I think so important that we need to balance it and not have stigmas and stereotypes.
That's true. So what's the aim of your life? And
aim of my life is to just be happy and peace and
yeah. Have you thought something beyond?
Be happy, be peaceful. Yeah, that's perfect.
Why I'm asking you is because especially when we meet like old people and once who have like lived their life and coming to the end, like that is inevitable.
Yeah.
Anybody die anytime. But in one sense, when we generalize it, when we get old, we die when I asked. So when we go and talk with them, ask for their experiences and then what's their realization. Most of them, they say that life is useless.
Yeah.
It's empty vessel on the one side, and it's like we did so many things, but it's all momentary, it's temporary. So I'm asking you, in that sense that at one point, when you see all these things, whatever you're doing, now there's like gay concepts or like your career or your family, or your loved one, your appointment is going to end.
Yeah.
So if you see from all these kind of things, what do you think life is?
Wow. I think when I'm old, if I grow out to be old, right now I'm fearing being old because I always want to do chaos.
It's not a pleasant.
Yeah. But if I grow old, I would be grateful that I got such a long life, and I hope that I would have created whatever little impact to people around me who I could. Then I agree with her momentarily. Then you're old and everything's gone. It's all history. It's like what life goes on. Yeah. And I don't know. It's not.
You see, I'll confuse them, but I didn't. Let's go. I like to be. There's time as 3 sections, right? Past, present, and future. Right. So, how long is your past? How long can you think about your past?
30 years.
30 years, right? How many years more you can think for future, ahead in future?
Future seems stretched.
Yeah. How many years? Like 80 years. Ooh,
till 80 years. Till is that 50?
Okay, 50 years, or even 50 years. How long is the present?
Split second, like now. Gone.
It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Right? So, do you ever realize that the present moment is almost nothing? It really doesn't exist. And I'm generally curious. The fraction of second, like experience gonna be like we borrow a little bit from our past, a little bit from our future.
Yeah.
And then we elongate it. We are talking, we are in a podcast, we are recording.
Yeah, this is the present.
This is the present. Whereas present moment is moment.
Yeah.
Can you imagine when you become old and all those like things which we went through, actually went through in your life, becomes useless, becomes nonsense, becomes just memories. What a frustration.
It is. Unless you write a big thesis about your life.
Even you write,
yeah. I mean,
It's not going to
It's gone. Yeah.
It's gone.
True.
So seeing from that perspective, what do you think is life?
I would still say life should be about enjoying the moment.
Okay.
But like how, even though it's a fraction of a second to have, there's a little we take from the past and future. You shouldn't worry too much about the past and the future. That's an ideal way. And live the moment, make people around you happy, be happy yourself. Don't trouble anyone.
In any moment.
Yeah, don't get troubled. And that would be ideal. It's a simple, happy life, just conscious, spiritual consciousness, wherever it comes from. That's so tough. I'm only thinking of the past.
I feel let me make it more easy. Yeah, I'm like, this is getting more like, man. Sometimes when I think about it too much, I get like, it's it's too much, and then it's like cannot comprehend.
But I think go with the flow, be spontaneous. I don't think when people say, what are you going to do in the next 5 years? Are you going to keep doing content creation? Or do you want to do something different? I'm always taken aback, even though I've been asked this many times, but I don't want to, I'm thinking of the nearer future, just being happy, securing myself, enjoying the past, present, future, closer past and future, and living the moment. There's too much stress and pressure in today's time. Like, what are you going to do? How are you going to be settled? And just have to secure yourself constantly and think of the future, obviously, but like constantly secure yourself. And it's subjective too.
So it's like, I mean, how do you take like sad moments in life? Do you consider it as part of life, or you try to reject it?
I would love to reject it, but I cannot. It comes and you can't control it. I think now I'm 30, so I feel wiser than when I was in my 20s. While when I was sad, I used to feel really rejected and dejected about it. But what I feel now is, it's always what goes down will come up. What comes up will come down at some point. It can't be the same. We all have our peaks and our lows, highs.
We've got very good understanding.
I've understood that. So when I'm low, I have accepted it, and I could be low, but I know that times get better, and it always. But if I have one mantra in life, it always gets better.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. I know from the heart. And apart from the fact that I'm aging, which is not getting better, everything else is getting better. That's my only fear.
Yeah. Well, my advice to you is like, when you have spiritual understanding, then you feel useful.
You look youthful in your age. Is that the secret?
Well, yeah, I don't know. Because when I be with my friends, they look like everybody old. I think the happiness matters directly.
Yeah,
amazing.
That is the most. Yeah, stress-free, happy.
Yeah. For me, I used to get like stress a lot before. I was an angry person, very angry person. But then when I became spiritual, then when I understood life in a better way, then I think I let things go, very easy. I forgive. I don't get angry much these days. And then that really gives me peaceful environment to be in the peaceful state. And not only that, when problems comes, when problems they come, and I feel like they are like just coming and going in. It's part of life. And I still remember, Paila, I used to, whenever, like you said, whenever there's like sad moments, I tried not to, allow that sad moments to come in my life. I try to push it away. But when I now start like embracing all these moments, I found like, I'm more peaceful, more happy. And then start like seeing that whenever people, they don't want like sad moments, they're trying to become more unhappy.
That's true.
By pushing it away.
I'm working on that. It's not easy.
Yeah,
I will not get to where you are.
When you see, even in good moments, we are here, we are existing, and even in sad moments, we are existing. So, what makes us feel that good moments are okay, and sad moments are not? Because when we start like good moments, we accept it. That's why we feel normal.
Yeah,
so-called normal.
Yeah.
So-called. All right. But then in sad moments, no. And when we start rejecting, it makes it even more worse.
Yeah. True. I reject it a lot. I'm not saying I've just understood Kigyo Ohunsa, and I have to work on it.
And same with the relationship, Good moments and bad moments, when I'm the tag like this, it's like, I mean, no matter we are fighting or disagreeing or, like somebody, like our loved one hurts, we're still together.
Yeah.
That's part of relationship.
It can't all be.
No.
Doesn't work that way.
It won't be Ramayana Matra. Can you imagine you all the time eating ice cream? Yeah.
Yeah.
After 5, 6, 10 ice cream.
Yeah.
I don't want to eat it then. So I'm just a kind of a variety. So we change vegetables, we change like bhat khन्छ kaile noodle khन्छ हैन. So varieties आउँछ नि. So in life also like there should be ups and downs and they're good.
Yeah.
Or in Radha and Krishna's like the love life, it's explained. That there is a part where it's milan, means like a meeting, and there's a part where it's bipalamba. Bipalamba means like separation. And it's explained that separation part is more intense. And when you think of, when Radharani is thinking about Krishna so intensely, it is like missing it. Is more enjoyable than when she meets Krishna. Because when Radharani meets Krishna, she feels, this guy is going to go. Whereas in separation, when am I going to meet him?
Yeah, but that's so true. Like in our time also, we feel it. I feel more, I miss them more when I'm with them. I don't miss them. I'm with them. It's like,
It's very interesting. But then we always have this concept that whenever we are together, meet each other, that's the best moment. Whereas this can be even better moment.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. And then can you imagine also, like, I'm not imagine, can you feel it? Like, when you love someone, to feel that love inside is more entertaining and enjoyable than to express it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not easy to express it. Rather, yeah.
Something expressed in the something keep it repeated. Even you express it, I mean, the feeling with those tones and thing.
Romantic side.
कुछ होता है कोई होने खान्छ नि.
I mean, brought up Bollywood films, so it's even more like dreaming about the person.
Yeah, in Bollywood they have done it like really good. I mean, and the lapa daire so उडेको देखाउँछ तारा लगेर. Yeah, I mean, I think it's they're trying to portray the feeling inside.
Yeah.
Mind को जति त गर्नै सक्दैन.
I think even in reality, it's not as much as it's romanticized. We've all grown up with such a Bollywood way of how love works. I'm like, real life festo hunna. It's I'm singing that song and I would love it. And life has its ups and downs. It's not always all rosy.
Yeah, you can find your love in very difficult moments also. It's not like necessarily that. Yeah, gotta tag no number again. When I felt like what this thing also like when I work with like people, and we go through certain difficult moments, they're the best people. When we go together, we suffer like together, and then these are that's where the relationship is formed, just as I say, rather than gala happy moments. Right?
For sure. I think when everything is happy and peaceful, then there's no want to change anything or get anything. To love, even friendships, it's the hard times when you cherish it, value it, and if you have people around you, I feel that's when
it's also like our guru tells us that the couple which are looking at each other will not last long, really, but the couple which is looking in the same direction will last long.
That makes it feel better to know.
Your name is interesting.
It is
Parakram.
Victorious, Bukharikas. I hope I can live up to that.
तर नाम राखेको पनि केही कारण हुनुपर्छ. Yeah, so maybe I was like thinking maybe this man would do something which is beyond the one has to feel like that. You don't want to.
I don't want to. This world is too cruel, and what about adapting? Adopting is a great idea, but I generally don't have. I cannot be responsible for another child who is coming into this world, which is so messed up. Not only the environment is degraded, so many people, the pollution, bad people. Where will I take my kid? I don't want my kid to grow up in Kathmandu. Kids are coughing and wheezing with asthma, and I'm seeing my nephews and they all are suffering, and I'm like, this is at least to Burani country. Well, you can't open up and now slowly this is also going to go, but the landscape is beautiful. Soon those hills will be filled with houses, so definitely Burani Kanta is better, but Kathmandu is
getting worse.
So I don't want to bring a child into this world and make them suffer. Because I feel like by the time we are old, we'll see a lot of bad things happening in this world too. You know, what my grandfather seen from his young age to now is also such a big change. All our grandparents, so much change.
They do tell.
Yeah, like they actually quite, they don't say it, but I already see it myself, and I'm like, Kathmandu or the world.
Only comment kar de. List a few as that's how.
They talk about their stories, but they don't compare. There've been times when they go out and they're like going to Bhaktapur, like a family trip to Bhaktapur, and they're like, God, the city has changed. There's just the beauty of it is charm.
Did they make the statement that it was safer before and now it's like worse?
That doesn't come from me, because I feel like they were always protected. Right? That privilege my family has had. So Tunarukot is the safer China, but definitely it's changed. Kathmandu ko change I've only seen from my young age to now in 30 years. Narukot, that was completely different. And adopting ko lagi also, I feel we can adopt. Mero mama itself, who's abroad, and he has a male partner, and they have a biological child. His sperm and the partner's sister's eggs have been
sisters, like.
Yeah. And then, so there's that way to do it. There are many ways to have kids and feel that.
Well, you don't want to feel responsible.
But stupid word. Yeah. In the stupid world, it is a big responsibility. I need to take care of myself.
That's very good.
Yeah. Till that doesn't happen, I cannot take care of another being. No guardian. I can't take care of someone, even like a cousin or someone, forget their child.
But they say that when you take care of a child, when you bring up a child, then you see the real life. What's around people through lots of patience, forgiveness, and
I feel like I'm so individualistic that way. I don't want that. I want to focus on myself.
Somehow, I also don't have a child. I'm not married. We've married for many years, and then but when I hear from others, those who have children, I feel like I'm lucky.
100%. They're blinded by children. I see my cousins and my friends.
Just one of my friends said, his child, broke the computer, expensive computer, and all we can do is nothing.
First, you have to buy it for them, and they break it also. So, and buy it.
And I'm like little. I take good care of my devices. Yeah, how is this possible?
No. Yeah. It's. I don't think, for me, my personal opinion, I don't think it's viable to have a child in today's time. I don't want them to suffer. We are only suffering in our generation.
In spiritual terms, it's called Kali problem.
So till Satyug is the good one, right?
Yeah, but
till that doesn't come, I don't think I want.
It's getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah,
and this must it's coming true. And there's one of the best books is like Bhavishapura, and which is written almost 5,000 years back. And this Malay, which is oily by us, like we're getting to say, water deficiency, water will be sold on the one. 50 years ago, pani kinera khane. Now we used to hear that in desert it's very expensive, but now it's everywhere.
Yeah,
and men will become like a woman will become like a man. Dress up or money change exchange. It's happening. One of the interesting thing is neta are corrupt and so neta it's like so many like bad leaders that are like around there. So like that, I think that can progress. It's very natural to.
Yeah. But there's also a lot of good in this time of the world. Imagine us 500-600 years back fighting wars, being slaves, or kings. It's like one way or the other. But I feel like there's good also in this part of the world.
The human thing is custom.
Yeah, terribleness, and how pyramids and all these temples are all built with that mass slavery. It's impossible for humans to do it unless their main mission in life is to build for the master.
Right? They'll live and die for that.
Yeah. So now that way there's amazing. I think the humans are amazing creatures. So our consciousness has made us evolve in so many ways. But I just feel like because of capitalism, greed, hatred, anger, unrest, we are ruining our world. Earth is the only, I don't think there's enough time for us to have the technology to all go to another planet and live normally before we ruin this Earth. Earth will be ruined before.
At least we ruin at the tail there.
Yeah.
Even though we go to Mars or where.
Yeah, we won't be able to do that in time. I believe that.
And even we do, we're going to make that place also the same. Like, you're at Bike or a family, I'm saying.
the world would do way better without humans. That also actually of what we are doing now.
Because we are the only living entity who are not like following the system.
Yeah.
Not going close to nature.
Everything we do is unnatural.
Unnatural.
We're living indoors. That's unnatural. We're not meant to live indoors. We're wearing clothes. How unnatural is that? Nothing is natural. Natural is prehistoric people living off this, So, I'd like as a
human being is also an animal one. And I like that. We are not. We are like kind of alien,
Yeah, yes, it's so alien to this planet. We've killed so many species. We've ruined this world, but we are the only ones who have the ability to make it thrive. Also,
do you think we can make a change?
Satya ki havane pade this.
Yeah, let's okay now. We're not. I mean, and not only you. Yeah, we.
No, we can do our bits. Whatever little we can do, but it still won't be enough. You need to be a completely changed person, away from society, away from this capital world to do good. There's no escape. We are already in the system.
I think it seems like people are trying, minimalistic and all this kind of. Your sub concept of right estimates vegan. That's good. Yeah, it's like kind of too much.
Yeah,
resistance.
Yeah.
Hippie culture, Western development. All right, so they're fed up with all this like an urbanization, capitalism.
Yeah. No, those changes are good. It's good to see people choosing veganism, choosing minimalism, plastic free. I feel at some point we all should be mindful about it. We don't have to be completely plastic free or vegan, but always to be mindful is good.
Yeah. But I mean, anything we create should come with solution. Any of the solutions I know, we should do.
Yeah. We need to learn from the mistakes we've made and really move on, because it's scary. The potential we have and what we are doing with it is sad. And I think spiritual consciousness, it helps improve you and makes you more stable and balanced.
For you, how do you understand spirituality?
I think for me, spirituality has always been about self-acceptance, being my true self, and surrounding myself with love and giving love. It hasn't been too deep. I have, my sister is with Sadhguru for 10 years. She's completely opposite of my field. And so she's in the spiritual world. And in fact, my mom is very religious, more than spiritual. And my dad has taken the spirituality from my sister, and he also practices yoga and he does that religiously. And seeing all of that, it's nice to know. And I've also tried doing it. I just feel like maybe through meditation, I let mero bhaira se na. However, when I went to one of there was a time when I was in my low, and I went to an ashram, Oshoko ashram, and I was in need of just meditation away. And when I did the practices and meditations, I felt the first time with meditation, I felt something magic and like a change. And I got what I got from it, and I was grateful. And then things worked out what I needed from.
You didn't continue the practice.
I didn't continue.
So you're waiting for the next not good situation.
Yeah, for now, yes. Ideally, it would be constantly. Yeah. And I feel like my dad keeps saying, everyone needs to meditate a little bit, spiritual. The Gorna parts to the back. And I'm just saying, I don't have the patience. But the whole point of not having patience, I feel, is all the more reason to meditate.
Yeah. Well, I think we should. Malay Costa when people say that I'm happy without spirituality, they're cheating us. You're speaking lies. That's because spirituality is that thing which gives you the real feeling. Whereas like we have gone to artificial and such. Paila say culture mein mixed. That's why it was not like not a subject to learn separately. But these days, spirituality is zero. That's why we have to learn. That's why you can see lots of organizations, lots of companies are teaching spirituality. All right, and then to become spiritual, you don't have to be religious. Religious is something different. In religion, the basic thing is the faith, right? The Shraddha Anusari Bhakti. Here, so Shraddha. Whereas the spirituality is a science. It's a reality, and spirituality talks about mostly the subtle existence of ours, like starting from mind, intelligence, Atma, right? So like we talked from the beginning, we were, most of the time, people are like stuck with the physical information and information in the body. Yeah, so if you go to the level of mind and intelligence, like it's like such a so we can explore more things. Yeah, in fact, like most of the things we are feeling, it's happening inside our head, inside our heart. No? So these are the things which we are supposed to like learn. More and more.
Yeah, like that. For sure. I think we all need to open our mind up and
so that spirituality really helps. So पहिला before I started spirituality, all I had information is about the body. Now, कसरी ज्याप हुने, कसरी खाने, शरीर मोच्ने, अनि कसरी राम्रोसँग गर्नु, all this kind. But then when I started like reading and all the spiritual books and I get to know about my mind, wow, it's like completely different me. I mean, unconsciously we're doing it, and I have feelings on that, etc. When we do it consciously, I mean, to understand now, this is what I like, what I don't like. Now you can feel it. You're aware of it, and that's very interesting. Very interesting. You should try. Yeah, but there is spirituality, but then most of the time it is connected to the religion, which many of us would only like it, right? And on the other hand, we think like to become spiritual, we have to wear this kind of cloth. Meditation, which is not necessary. This is what I wanted to tell people in the world, like to practice spirituality, you can just remain as you are and just clean this place. Yeah,
I agree with you. That's my definition of spirituality. It's not about
even to become more rich, for example. If you practice spirituality, it's so easy. Okay, so you have anything else?
No, my main thing was to find out what you have about our community. So that was something that I wanted to find out.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a major thing. It's not like, really. I mean, I won't say it's good or bad, and I have my own feeling towards that. But then that's not supposed to affect your life.
For sure. I think we all need to be more accepting and open, and that is Hinduism we apply because
you are what you are.
Yeah.
If I accept you as you are, then I think both of us will remain happy.
Yeah,
true. For example, I mean, I'm vegetarian. I don't drink, I don't smoke, right? And it's coming from the religious background we do. So I've accepted it from my heart.
Yeah.
And then back home, if I see my father, he's still enjoying meat and then he loves it. And some of my friends, they said, why don't you tell him not to drink or not to eat meat? And I said, no, because he never told me to. I told them, I mean, my father never told me never told me to eat. So why should I tell him not to eat? Right, so everyone has freedom, and the day he feels that he should quit meat, let him.
Yeah.
And as long as he thinks that he should eat, it's okay with me.
Yeah.
And then that's how we can go ahead. And
And that should be for everything in life. Until that's not harming you personally. That's true.
And also like whenever you are happy, whenever you get to do whatever you want to do, I think you'll be more productive. And then amazing things starts coming out from rather than let me force him to do things.
Yeah, for sure. The environment needs to be more chill instead of what's tight.
It's really nice talking to you.
Likewise. I have interesting perspectives, and it's good, something different. I was excited to be a part of this podcast. It's something I haven't done, to speak about spirituality. Everyone's doing the same thing, and I was like, this is...
And I'm sure like you're struggling with trying to prove that whatever is going inside you is like genuine, natural thing. I think after this podcast, also many will be questioning to me, how can you accept that? I mean, frankly speaking, many of the religious people, don't.
Yeah, true Hinduism, if people...
True Hinduism will accept,
it.
But then the external Hindu.
Yeah, so if you're true Hindu, go read the scriptures, the lovely stories we heard from him, and go read Google. It's always been accepting in our community. We've had a place for even third gender people in our society, and there's proof, evidence, scriptures, sculptures, all of that. So it is very Western to be homophobic or transphobic. because that's what the colonial mindset is. Acceptance, Sanatan, I don't know exactly what that means. Acceptance, love, peace, worship God, be grateful. I think that's what Hinduism is. I've grown up with the mindset of Hinduism be beautiful, love. We scare each other now in today's time. Hey, अब यो खराब भइरहेछ, यो गरे भने त्यो हुन्छ, you know. I don't believe in that. I believe give love, get love. God is all happy, cool. You know, it's have faith, pray to God, be thankful, be grateful. Don't be scared of God unless you're doing something wrong.
That's true. You know, one of the things in spirituality is such as like remain humble. And when I was like checking what exactly meant by being humble and not it says like be yourself. When you be yourself, I mean, there's others can term you as good or bad, but then that's you. Yeah. And you're a chorle pani, I mean, mo chorera mero family kalchu bhanera sochirake होला ni ta. Khanako lagi, baँच्नको लागि गर्दा. But I'm badmas chor, aru hosaima chor chhain. We're like saying this is bad. You know, but for him, like he's doing his duty actually. I'm not trying to say that. No, not theory is like I'm good or not, all these kind of things. But then we have to understand why that person is doing that. You know, oh what? Okay. Then if we can provide some alternative, maybe he will become an okay to his applicant here. But so basically, yeah. I mean, when we become more religious, we become more accepting. More accepting. It's more broad. That is the aim of religion.
Yeah, that is the aim. But actual people who are more religious and less accepting, hate other religions, hate each other, divide each other. This is how you have to worship God. This is what is written in the Quran or the Bible or in Hinduism. This is how it has worked.
And if you don't do it, you're out.
Yeah,
cut his throat.
Yeah, I think religion should be about peace, loving each other. It's just divided. In today's time, it's just dividing because politics is coming to play. People are misusing it.
Okay, let's hope this world becomes a better place.
We need to raise our consciousness.
Yes. And thank you for coming. Thank you for having me. Thank you. It's really nice meeting you.
Likewise.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.